We should be live. Chop chop, magic time. Sorry it took a while. I was just. See, that's like the first time doing these things. I was just setting up Streamlabs, and there was something going wrong when I hit live, or anyways, I just had to make sure the stream was streaming both to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time. I got a little bit confused, so we're 5 minutes late. Thank you for being here for the first episode of Dine live on YouTube. I'm really excited to start this format, start cooking with you, interacting with you, answering your questions. I see the top chat, so I should probably do this to multi-stream so I get comments from Twitch as well. So basically, what we're gonna be doing today is topic for today is setting goals. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about how to set your goals, especially like since it's January. Maybe some of you have like New Year's resolutions that they want to tackle. I wanted to do this a little bit earlier, seeing that it's January, but I had some problems. I just recently moved, so getting the Wi-Fi here to work so streams are actually working was a little bit of a hassle. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat the whole time. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for me to coordinate both talking about game dev, cooking, and interacting with the live chat all at the same time. So bear with me, first time. Yeah, anyways, so we're going to be talking about goals, how you can champion your goals, we're going to be looking at some of my examples. Hey B-Bird, what's up? I'm just gonna like read a little bit about what's on the menu in terms of that. So we're gonna be looking at the SMART goals formula, which I'm using, or we are taught at university to set goals. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my personal experiences with setting goals. I'm gonna give you some examples, some not so good, some examples that worked quite well for me. Sorry, I got my notes here all taped to the walls. We're going to also be talking on how to effectively reflect on your goals. And of course, what is really important for me regarding this channel is also, general topics surrounding mental health. So how to not burn yourself out with your goals. And then we're just going to do a really quick evaluation at the end. While we are talking about that, for today, I am going to be cooking some vegan filled bell peppers. If you want to cook along, you probably don't have the recipes, but for the future, if you want to, and in case you do have the correct recipes, you can see the recipes and the ingredients in the description down below. So filled bell peppers, talking about goals, and I was thinking, considering that this is the very first episode of Dine, I'm just gonna introduce myself briefly because I'm also going to be uploading this to Spotify and gonna repurpose this as a YouTube video. So the live stream is up in case you want to watch the full thing. Don't have time right now, which make time for it because we're gonna want to be interacting together. So my name's Paul. I've repurposed this YouTube channel previously to do these cooking streams. I'm currently a game design student at Breda University in my 4th year, and I'm about to be doing an internship at Pokey. So moved to Amsterdam for that. Pokey is a great company making mobile games. Maybe pan your webcam down a bit. It's tricky for me a little bit because I'm actually not in the position to see this at the moment. Wait a second. Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. I think this works. Where was I? Introducing myself, right. Starting an internship at Pokey. And I've set a lot of goals throughout my time at Breda. So I've gone through all the mistakes that you can make with setting your own goals. And I think that is what maybe somewhat qualifies me to talk about this. I mean, I'm a pretty normal guy, so I'm not really here to educate you necessarily, but just to share my experiences. And yeah, that's why we're doing this in a live stream format, right? Because probably a lot of you have set their goals as well for different occasions, whether it's on Teams, or whether it was just, as I said previously, a New Year's resolution. Um, yeah, just write your experiences down in the comments, what you have experienced with setting goals, and I'm really interested to just see what your experiences are and maybe also where your pitfalls were, right? So don't be shy to share anything about that. Um, all right. In the meantime, I guess I'm just gonna start cooking. So first step is we're just gonna heat up some olive oil and chop the onion. I'll chop the onion first. Yeah, and maybe while I do that, I can already start talking a little bit about the SMART goal formula that we are using at university. Um, it's not necessarily just what we are using at university, but in general, SMART format for setting goals is in general quite yeah, popular amongst goal setting fanatics like we all are. Yeah, so it's basically an acronym with each letter standing for a specific way, or yeah, specific way in which you should be setting your goal. So S stands for specific, right? So you want to make your goal specific. I don't know. Probably. Well, I have some examples coming up later. Then M is the next letter in the word. Stands for measurable. So you're gonna want to be tracking your goal while you're at it, right? Don't just want to set a goal like, I don't know, I want to open a theme park, and then not actually track it, right? Like, you want to set some milestones for the goal as you're doing it. Something like, first we want to build a Ferris wheel or a roller coaster, right? Then, yeah, one of the most important ones with A is achievable or attainable, right? I think this is where most goals actually tend to suffer or die out, because, and I think this is really quite normal, because when we're still young and inexperienced, like I was at the start of my education, we don't really know what's possible for us, right? Depending on, right, any kind of yeah, education or background that we're from. Whenever we want to start something new, right? Um, we don't really know how much is achievable, right? If I want to start hitting the gym, um, and I just look at a gym plan, right? Um, Even if it says like for beginners, right? Maybe I'm even below beginner level, and the gym plan is just made by some has been created for me by some absolute powerhouses that have been hitting the gym uh, like 4 times a week for for the past 5 years or something, right? Um, so yeah, probably when you start, you're gonna want to be setting your goals relatively low so that you still manage to hit them and achieve them and motivate yourself in the long run. um, but I get that you're still ambitious at the start, which is why a lot of people tend to set these major goals for themselves and then burn themselves out in the process. Um, Philip asks, what am I cooking? I am cooking vegan stuffed bell peppers today. Yeah, maybe you've just tuned in. But yeah, that's what we are making. So yeah, gonna be sizzling some onions, and while I'm doing that, I can already start cutting some garlic. Where did I put the garlic? I'm pretty sure I had it right here. Did I cover it with? Yeah, I covered it with onion. Right. So yeah, that was the third part of the SMART goals. Them being achievable is really super important. Yes, but there are still two more letters in the word smart, and R stands for relevant. Um, yeah, so this basically means that it's yeah, relevant to your field of education, your studies, your area of expertise that you wanna get good at. It's tempting sometimes to set these goals that you can achieve easily, um, or we all know about active procrastination, where we have like an essay that's due, but um, then we rather like we clean the house all day, right? Or we I don't know, we do our laundry or whatever, and it feels like we've been active all day, um, but yeah, we haven't actually done anything towards our field or area of education or area of study. Um, so yeah, that is I don't know. I think this is relatively obvious, but I mean, it can express itself in these like more minor forms, I suppose. Like, I don't know, game development and something that might only be like tangentially relevant if I'm just wanting to become a general game designer, right? And then game design is a tricky area to find an example from, because so many is so much of it is relevant. But I don't know. Let's say I want to start building like uh, a good relationship to my teammates, and I invite them to join me at a bar every day, right? That could be a good goal. But let's say for those meetings, I then research different types of beer, for example, right, to have a chat over with my team members while I'm inviting them over to to do some team building at a bar, right? Then maybe I'm sidetracking a little bit, or I don't know. Stupid example, but yeah, you get the point. And yeah, then the last point, T stands for time bound, right? So this is essentially until when you want to have achieved your goal, or how long you are continuing with your goal, right? Let's say, I don't know. I'm gonna be sticking with theme park example. I have some more game design relevant examples, right? Let's say theme park sub goal. We want to be building a roller coaster, right? Then we want to have that roller coaster built, that section of the theme park built within 8 weeks. I don't know. I know nothing about making theme parks IRL. So yeah, again, just spitballing a little bit here. Yeah. So just to sum that up, um, we got SMART formula for setting goals. S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, and T is for time bound. Maybe some of you have a certain goal that they are currently trying to achieve, um, and can try to formulate that in the Smart Goal formula and write it in chat. I think that could be quite interesting, and I could have a look at some of your goals. All right, let's make sure that this onion doesn't burn. All right, I'm supposed to be frying this for 3 minutes, and then we got some spices. Yeah, I just went to Albert Heijn yesterday to get some spices. So we got black pepper here. We got Gemeinsaat, which is I think that's turmeric in English. Correct me if I'm wrong. Curcuma. Maybe turn this a little bit lower. Paprika and garlic powder. Actually, I don't think I need garlic powder because we already, I just cut garlic. We're already putting that in there. Nice, nice, nice. Listen to those onions sizzling. Hitting diamond in team fight tactics. Honestly, that's a goal. Yeah, maybe you can think about how you would apply the SMART goal formula to that. I'm definitely wishing you the best of luck in hitting that. That's quite a cool goal. All right, what do I have next? regarding goal setting on the menu. So personal experiences. um, I have like these bullet points jotted down, um, but I I'm afraid they might make this a little bit too stiff. So I'm just gonna see how to get through this. So what did I write? At school, taught to set yourself lots of goals at the start of education. Right. So I think this is a very important point. Your goals that you set for yourself, especially if they're like personal goals, they should come from a spring of motivation, right? Um, do not set goals because you're obligated. I mean, of course, we're obligated to do things, but these are your personal goals, which again, yeah, that's the whole thing with education. At at school, you are obligated to set personal goals, which, in all honesty, I think is a little bit contradicting. Maybe it's not because they're teaching us the formula. They're just teaching us as the tool, right? So it's fine. But I think that is the number one thing, right? Um, setting goals out of like your own motivation, which Philip is already doing, right, with his goal in hitting teamfight tactics. That is a great source of motivation because he wants to be seen as superior by other teamfight tactics players, which is a very human thing to feel. Right? Striving for excellence, as you should be. Surely smart. Yeah, no, it's a smart goal. Yeah, maybe look at the smart formula to see how you would adapt it to that formula, or don't. I don't know. Right. Yeah. So motivation should be key factor in setting your goals. Let me just, to not get too sidetracked with the cooking. See what I need to add. So yeah, now we're adding rice, actually, to the pan already. So just a bit of fried rice here. I think we can, yeah. That's like the problem with rice. I never know how much is too much. Is this enough to fill 2 bell peppers? I'll add a little bit more. And now we can put all those spices in there. Heck yeah, look at that. Okay. So far I feel like cross-coordinating is going quite well. Can make it more difficult for me by writing some more things into the chat. Some more smart goals or goals that anybody's setting. Yeah. Right. So as I just said, least school basically forcing yourself or making it an obligation for you to set your goals. It's not a bad thing, but it does lead to a lot of goals that lead to nothing due to them, yeah, being obligational. And at the start, we were just forced to set a lot of different goals just to get us into the habit of actually setting these goals. Yeah, which was a little bit counterproductive, I say. But oh well, we only did for like the first few blocks, which is like 16 weeks, along with a lot of other stuff that we were doing. Hello, Dusty. So is this a one-pot meal or one pan? Yeah, essentially. So we're making the mixture for the bell peppers in one pan. I have the other pan here to later fry the paprika. Because, yeah, the original recipe wants us to bake the paprika in an oven, but I don't have an oven here. So we're just going to be frying it in the pan. Yeah, exactly. Right. And what happens easily as well, for one, because because of course you're excited about your craft, but also because at school you really want to impress the teachers and you want to impress your peers because you're like still quite young and insecure, and you end up setting these hugely ambitious goals which are also not necessarily tied to what you're actually doing. Again, as I said earlier, you don't know what's achievable yet for you at the start of your study, right? to end up setting these hugely ambitious goals, both to impress people, which really that should be like the last source of motivation with your goals, right? They should only, right, as I said, they should come from an intrinsic motivation. Impressing other people is really not the way to go, and that is one sure way to burn yourself out. Um, right? So just be aware of that. Yeah. Right. Yeah, too ambitious goals to impress the teachers. Right. As I said before, I think the biggest hurdle is not knowing how realistic a certain goal is. Um, all right. Um, Let me just see what's up next. Add vegetable broth, lentils and tomatoes, salt and pepper. All right. Let me just go and get some hot water and prepare some vegetable broth. Set up the heater. I'm trying basically. I mean, I got these vegetable broth cubes yesterday. What if my goal is to impress someone? Honestly, that's a good question because I think a lot of, well, I mean, when you're doing anything creative, right? Or not necessarily anything creative, right? But also when you're like doing sports, right? Anything that is like a bit of a competition. I feel, yeah, impressing other people is just maybe a little bit inherent. But I think there's also other sources of motivation that are tied to these activities, which are not necessarily right just to impress them. Does that make sense? I'm gonna give an example, right? So let's say, right, with game design, I'm making a game, right? I could be doing this to impress people, right? For people to say, "Oh wow, he made such a cool game. He is such a cool game designer," right? I want to be like him. Which I don't know. I feel that is a very narcissistic way to approach this. Um, right? There's countless other reasons as to why. Whoop. Wait. I think I might want to chop this down first before. Sorry if my yeah, line of thought was disrupted a little bit. I haven't used these broth blocks before. Yeah, as I said, making a game to impress people, I feel that's quite a narcissistic view. There's a lot of other reasons as to why you could be making a game or any creative content, right? Which I feel the main source of inspiration is to inspire people, right? To give them a good time. I think there could be some more water added to this actually. Oh, we still need to leave some space for the lentils and tomatoes that are going to be added later. Right. Yeah, so as I said, inspiring other people, just, yeah, maybe it's also for yourself, right? For creative expression. Which are those two terms actually linked? Expression and impression, right? You're expressing. If you are expressing, you are always impressing somebody to a certain degree. Well, you want to impress somebody well, but right? Maybe it's also just for you to just get something out there, right? I have a cool game idea. I want to bring it to life. Maybe I'm just making it for myself. Maybe I'm making it for my children or my family, right? Just to let them have fun, and right, watching them having fun is a powerful motivator, a powerful source for me. Then again, I guess if you say, what if my goal is to particularly impress somebody? Like that is your actual goal, which situations where I could see this arising is like if you have a crush, maybe you want to impress your crush. Um, huh. Well, I mean, yeah, that is I mean that's also doing something for yourself, right? If right you are but also for them, right? Because I guess having a crush, wanting somebody to be together with you, is not necessarily a selfish action if you believe that you are a good fit for that person, right? If you want to convince them that you are a good fit for them, um, right? Because, right, you can care for them well, you can cook for them, you can, I don't know, take them out on fancy dates. You can just, right, make sure that they have a stable life with you. Then that is very much not selfish. And I think then the act of impressing somebody, right, is linked to something positive. Again, right, this is all about like how you phrase these things. But I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, then yeah, feel free to ask again. Um all right. Yeah, we've added the vegetable broth, the spices. Yeah, we're gonna need some salt and pepper. Already added the pepper actually. Get some salt. Add some salt. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to do some taste tests later to see whether this is actually sufficiently spiced. All right, I got this pack of hack lentils, Linsen, from up yesterday. I think I could just put all of them in here. There's still a bunch at the bottom of the package here. So let's give that a good pat. And yeah, after this is done, I can maybe talk a little bit about or present to you some of my goals. Also need to make sure that I keep the kitchen clear while I'm at this. So just make sure that this is gone. Oops. Also, does boosting my wait? Okay, understood. Also, does boosting my own ego count as intrinsic motivation? Boosting your own ego. Well, that is honestly a huge subject for an entirely different episode, managing your ego. Um, I mean, right? Just to keep it short, having an ego is a good thing, right? It all depends on how you yeah, how you manage your ego, especially like in a team environment, right? Letting other people discard all your best ideas just to get along is no better than fighting for your every idea. Um, right? So, yeah, let's say you have inferiority complexes, for example, right? And you want to work a little bit on gaining some self confidence. How do you want to do that? Maybe it is by posting something on social media, like a little video of yourself just commenting on a topic of life every single day. And I could see that as a very positive goal, right? Um, yeah, boosting your own ego. I think, right, if you do it with the right intentions, that's definitely intrinsic motivation. Yeah, I think that's the short answer to your question. I'm planning to do an entirely different video or episode just on managing ego um, at some point. Um, so yeah, I hope that answers your question for now, but stay tuned for that as a topic. Ooh, I think this is starting to look quite good. Let me just get a little spoon just to taste. A little taste test here. Yeah, honestly, I think this is good so far. I think maybe a little bit more. Honestly, I think it's fine. Maybe a little bit more salt. But yeah, the spices are already like shining through, and um, yeah, tastes pretty good. Not gonna lie, not gonna lie. Blue Lock taught me to do anything to feed my ego at all times. Well, um, I'm not sure if that is the message of Blue Lock. I haven't watched too much of it, but I mean, right? As a striker, as you I wish you could try this, guys. Sorry, this is. I am very proud of my own. Well, this is not necessarily my own cooking skills, but the recipe I'm copying from somebody. But man, that's pretty good. Not gonna lie. Taught me to do yeah. I if you're a football player, if you're a game designer, in a lot of these jobs, you need an ego. You need a healthy ego, maybe one that is slightly over the top, as long as you can still function within a team. Right? And that's right. Having an ego is, as I said, not a bad thing. So I don't think Blue Lock is necessarily sending a bad message. As I said, I haven't watched all of it, so I can't really comment on that. This cooks for 10 minutes. I'm gonna be chopping up some basil, and in the meantime, I'm going to be presenting to you one of my SMART goals that I set at university. One of my first ones, right? So as I said, these are not necessarily very, very good SMART goals, or ones that I just set while I was very inexperienced. So I just have them like printed out here. Blah, I threw that all across the counter here. Jesus Christ. And right, one thing I want to strike home is, I think, for me personally, the biggest pitfalls of these goals is the achievable. Yeah, is the achievable part of the goal, right? And yeah, when you're inexperienced, you don't know what is achievable. So a lot of your goals are just going to be quite unrealistic. All right, let me tell you about my first goal, making a puzzle game in Unreal Engine. For my first block, the block lasted a total of 8 weeks, and our primary assignment was for each week to create a board game, just to learn game design fundamentals, right? That involved testing, iteration, going through the whole game development cycle. Oh, Forbidden Kimono Studio, hey, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Making a puzzle game in Unreal Engine. I wanted to do that on the side of first of all, just learning how my education at BUAS even worked, right? While I was trying to make new friends, socialize, and just learn about how PowerPoint worked, because we are essentially at BUAS required to do everything like that we're graded on, present that in a PowerPoint. So yeah, in the meantime, I wanted to make a puzzle game in Unreal Engine, and I'm just going to read this goal to you as it is written here. Also, I taped my notes to the wall here. I don't know if that's the most efficient way to do it. Let's see for the future how this goes. So, making a puzzle game in Unreal Engine. S for specific. I want to spend more time focusing on making games in Block A. That's 8 weeks. Unreal Engine provides different templates for starters to build games. I want to try to make a small game with one of these templates, being a puzzle game. Furthermore, I want to explore the white box and use it as a way to build quick prototypes for my game ideas, to explore possible design mistakes before making the game in Unreal. I want to attend the Unreal Guild as well as the Programming Guild to help myself along the way. First of all, I guess I was trying to explain this to the teacher somehow, but that is a mouthful. You want, like, each of these things, like specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, to just be one sentence, right? One sentence, short and snappy. I got super wordy with my goals. Anyways, that's specific. Oh, I guess it's quite specific. M for measurable. By setting a deadline of roughly 6 weeks for the game, I will give myself enough time to come up with rules and design, prototype, program, and iterate. I will take notes on each stage and add images to my learning log to make my progress visible. Setting myself these stages will allow me to measure whether I have been keeping up with my self-set goals. Again, too long and super unrealistic. Um, such an eluded first goal, honestly. Um, Measurable. This could have been would have been better if in this goal this had already been broken down, right? Like, let's say I would have had like this set up into I don't know, mechanics, visuals level testing, right? Then I could have like said, okay, to keep this measurable, I'm gonna spend 2 weeks on mechanics, 2 weeks on level design, 2 weeks on testing, right? Then you have these milestones. You can integrate those milestones into the measurable part. Um, yeah. Then for A, attainable. As I'm still inexperienced in making video and making virtual games, which is why I find one game to be a reasonable amount of workload alongside university classes for the first block. Oh wow, should I feel that I am behind, I will ask my colleagues or teachers for help. Yeah, we spend entire blocks on just making not even a game, but just in my second year, one block was entirely devoted to just building a feature from a game. And I wanted to make in my first block an entire puzzle game all by myself. Talk about burning yourself out. So, but as I said, right, I was an inexperienced child. Um, yeah, not achievable at all in hindsight. But again, you need to make these mistakes so that in hindsight, right, you can reflect on it. Relevant. Being practical is what making games is all about. Thus, this goal is of great importance to me, especially as I feel the need to enhance my skills with game engines. Honestly, that's the best point of this goal so far, right? It is very relevant. Um, yeah. Honestly, practical goals are. I think that's the greatest thing to do when making anything. I think, right? You can read all the books. I often criticize my study for not being academic enough, but honestly, I'd much rather have it be super practical than be super academic. um, because that way you just right and let's just learn more, right? Um, you, otherwise you read about game design for like 3 years and then fourth year it's the first time to jump to engine and you're gonna know nothing. Okay, time bound. I gave myself a time of 6 weeks for the game. It is probably more than I will need. Probably more than I will need, but I do. Holy, how was I so deluded? 6 weeks is more time than I will need for a puzzle game. Okay, this is inexperienced Paul just coming to Breda University, not knowing anything. Wow. I see we're already at 9 viewers. This is hello to everybody that joined. By the way, we're making stuffed bell peppers, and I think I can actually like move on to now. Yeah, preparing the peppers. I am just yeah, stirring around the fill-in right now. So far. Yeah, if any of you that have joined have any goals that they set for this year, feel free to share them in the chat, maybe even with the smart format. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what you guys are doing, what you're up to. Cool. Yeah, so in all honesty, I don't think, first of all, right, these goals, as I said, a good goal is quite difficult to identify at first, right? As I said, it's all about that achievable part of it, which if you just show me, right, or tell me, right, it's this is my goal, and I don't know how much time you have for it, which is where time bound becomes super important. Yeah, then it's a little bit difficult for me to know. Yeah, knowing my experience, and how much time I had to set myself for this goal, this was terrible. This is a terrible goal. But on the surface, it might look quite okay. Right. We're gonna talk later about reflecting on your goals because that is where smart is not the whole thing, right? There's the smarter method where two new variables come into play. But yeah, Right. So the second goal, which I felt for my experience at the time was a lot better. I am going to be reading that to you in a moment, right after I am done cutting these bell peppers. I'm just gonna chop this in half. And probably not gonna get all the seeds out of there, but you know, just yeah, I think this is quite good. Right, we need some to drizzle some of that olive oil in here. Honestly, these bell peppers, they're not perfect for filling stuff in. I'm just noticing. Also, for this one, I need to maybe I can just put this on lower heat. Don't want anything to burn here, do I? Okay, just carve out some more of that white flesh here. So it's more of a little scoopy. Okay, okay. And nice. All right, second goal coming right up. So the next one, as I said, is for my experience and my workload that was manageable a lot better. The goal is giving effective and encouraging feedback. Aw, quite a wholesome goal, I feel. So, specific, I want to become a better team player by improving my feedback skills on the games and design decisions that my peers have made. I will give my honest opinion, but find positive points within the game for my team members to build upon. I want to refer to learned game design fundamentals in my feedback. I think, again, this can be shortened, but as far as specifics go, I think this is solid with an honest intention. Um, yeah, and right, I think maybe I could have detailed the sandwich method, which is like a method of giving feedback to people in a team. Could also make a video about that at some point. I feel like this is okay. Measurable, I will give feedback on games to at least 3 students daily during playtesting sessions, as well as on my impressions of their process during the week. I will record feedback in the dedicated section of the learning log. Yep, solid, good, measurable, right? So adding honestly, whenever you add numbers, you shouldn't have your measurable section without any variables or numbers in it, right? If you I think that is like the first red flag if you get to that section and you don't have any variables in it, you probably want to revise it. So yeah, 3 students give feedback, record the given feedback in the learning log. Honestly, I think that's pretty solid. Achievable. During the block, a lot of playtesting will happen, and I will have a lot of chances to review the games that my peers have designed. Yeah, there were dedicated hours during the studies for giving feedback for playtesting, so very realistic. Relevant. The ability to express opinions honestly but encouragingly is a skill that will greatly improve the quality of a work within a team. This is especially true to creative content where a lot of different opinions must be collected on a subjective topic, right? So staying tactful, right? That's what this was all about. I think tact, respect are like just key features in becoming a professional. Yeah, as far as relevance goes, this is great. Time bound. By the end of the blog, I wanted to be able to speak to my peers openly and without concern about their design decisions, so I kept this up for 8 weeks. Yeah, honestly, solid goal. Solid goal with right again. Especially looking at the A part of it, achievable, right? Something that won't burn yourself out. You could argue it's not necessarily very ambitious, right? That's what I like most about the goals when I'm actually getting something from them. And I had more ambitious goals as I went on in the process, right? For example, last year I made an entire escape room via the escape room simulator software, like parallel to working on my on my main game, and I did that quite successfully. That's a goal that I'm pretty proud of. But again, it was only through experience in making games that I was able to calculate the hours and be aware of how much is actually possible for me to do alongside that main hassle of creating a game within a team. Yeah, but again, right? Know thyself, right? That is, I think, the most important part to get away from this. And you can only know thyself through doing and through crafting. Right, so we've reached the next part of this, which is reflecting on the goals. Gonna turn this off. I think now, yeah, we are filling the bell peppers with the mixture. I'm just gonna sprinkle them with a little bit of salt, because I haven't done that. A little bit of salt in each. I think we're almost done with cooking, actually. Yeah, we're already at step 9, fill with mixture. Let's just turn all of this off. And we're ready to serve, I think. Just gonna clean this up a little bit here. And while we serve and plate, I'm definitely still gonna eat this. Nothing goes to waste here. Just where do I put this? Because my access to the fridge is blocked at the moment. Put this away. Probably want a big plate. Not. Yeah. This looks good. I hope they're not super black at the bottom. Also got these here. Let me see. Yeah, I think like they're a little bit brown at the bottom. Honestly, I think this is. Maybe they could even. I don't know. This is fine. I think this is fine. You think this is fine? Cool. Alright. Yeah, so while we're plating, let me tell you about the smarter method and about how you actually effectively reflect on your goals. I wish I had a bigger spoon now, but actually accessing the other spoons right now is a bit tricky. So let's just scoop them up like this. Nice. And I think this is too much mixture for what we have. Yeah. But essentially, yeah. The, P-Bird, I'm back. Lifting my ass off. Why'd you cut them like that? Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question. Wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it goes. Everything goes here. As I said, coordinating 3 things. First time doing it today. Bit of a challenge, but we shall survive in the kitchen. Right, smarter method. So this is essentially for if you're inexperienced and you feel like your goal is just simply overwhelming you. Right? So you have E, which stands for evaluated, and then R, which stands for revised. Right? And this is really important throughout your process, right? Alongside, right? Because your personal goals, they are things that you do alongside your things that you need to do, right? Your job, your family that you need to take care of, right? Keeping yourself healthy. So it's really important to not let them burn you out. I wish I had more bell peppers. That's so little. And to revise them when necessary, as I did for my Unreal Engine goal, which, by the way, was so ambitious that I didn't actually end up doing it at all. So here is E for evaluated for that Unreal Engine goal I told you about earlier. I realized that it will take a larger understanding of blueprinting and Unreal Engine as well as puzzle game mechanics to create my game. I was, however, advised to explore Unreal Engine in as much depth as possible. Yeah, take a larger understanding of blueprinting and Unreal Engine, a much larger understanding of blueprinting and Unreal Engine. And then R, I will be, for revised, I will be following the Unreal Guild weekly and gain practical experience with the engine. I will follow assignments given during the course and design a more simple game during the guild. Spoilers, I did not design a game, but just following the guild and gaining practical experience was much easier for me to do, much better for my mental health. So yeah, that's a practical example of how you apply the E and R to the SMART method. Don't think it goes is an English expression. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is. But feel free to look that up for me and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure I've heard that somewhere. Probably Breaking Bad or something. Okay. Right. And then after you've, yeah, or right. Sorry. These are the bullet points I have. We're basically done with cooking now. What you still need to do is I have this plant-based crème fraîche, which is pretty good. Yeah, you're gonna want to serve that with your bell peppers with a little bit of that. So look at that. Isn't that nice? Oh, and also, of course, just a touch of lemon juice. Yeah, my bullet points. What did they say? Is your goal still achievable? Can you make it smaller and more realistic? Or, yeah, this is really important. Should you ditch it altogether? Right? This is also, doesn't just apply to goals, but also, like, making games in general. If your game is too ambitious at its core, right? If you can't find a way to make it smaller, more achievable, right? Or sometimes the premise is just wrong, right? The game seed, which we'll have an episode where we just talk about crafting great game seeds. Right? So if your goal does not let itself be minimized well, then maybe it's a good idea. If your motivation for it, if you can't rephrase it another way, rework it, your motivation isn't sufficient for it, right, then just ditch it. Nice. We've played at it. I'm almost through with my talk. Looks good. Nice. Thank you so much, Kimono. Yeah, I'm about to devour this later on. I think there's like coconut in this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, coconut oil. It tastes a lot like coconut, which I don't think that's how original creme fraiche is supposed to taste, but it's still pretty good. Right. So I touched a little bit on burnout. I don't want this to come too short because this is really important for me and should be really important to you, right? One thing that's important that I've said before already is goals, personal goals are an extra, right? We as humans, we want to thrive, right? We want to create art. We want to express ourselves. We want to reach that, right? If you compare this to, like, I don't know if you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's essentially like a pyramid of just, yeah, humans' needs. And the theory goes that it's a theory. A pyramid consists of 5 levels, and the theory goes that you can't reach the level that's further up if the bottom level isn't, isn't, if not all requirements of the bottom level are met, right? So on the lowest level, you're gonna have, for example, like food, water. Then step above that, you're gonna have shelter, electricity, heat. Again, step above that, you're gonna have just social security, right? You don't have, or I think that's actually on the level below. Anyways, right? What I want to say is, right, on the first of all, yeah, on the highest level of that Maslow's pyramid of needs is expression, right? Self-expression, creating art. But which is where this creative craft, right, game design, fits into. But in order to do that well, all the other requirements first need to be met, right? It's like if you're mentally not in the right state to thrive, to create art to achieve your goals, then look into covering those other needs first, right? Make sure that you're mentally healthy. Make sure that you eat proper, healthy meals 3 times a day. Make sure that you have positive people in your life that give you energy and have you thrive and, yeah, just push you forward. Um, Make sure that they are doing well. Um, if all right, make sure that you exercise as well. Exercise and take a shower, gamers. Take a shower at least once every 2 days. um, right. Make sure that all those needs are met, and if they are all met, then you can start setting your goals. Otherwise, burnout will hit. It'll be stressful, and it will not be fun, and nobody's gonna gain anything from it. And most important point, which I said at the start, do not set goals to impress anybody. I know at the start we might be insecure about ourselves. We might want to do it to get people to look at us, right? Look at how cool I am, right? Post ourselves on social media. Do not set goals, do not create art to impress others, right? To patch up any insecurities that maybe haunting you, maybe not, right? I know for me, I think for all creatives, at some process that shines through, that just happens. Um, 1-0 Atalanta. Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch Champions League in a bit. My club is gonna be playing. Right. Don't burn yourself out on goals. It's not effective. It's not cool. You want to set yourself goals to be happy, right? Be happy. That's a great goal. How do you achieve happiness? That's an idea for another video. Yeah, so just to recap a little bit, right? So I taught you the smarter method, right? Which I advise all of you to apply to your goals, your New Year's resolutions, right? So again, we have specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound, and then if you are reflecting, you are going to be evaluating your goals, and you're going to be rephrasing your goals, or revising your goals. Right, whether a goal is good depends entirely on whether it is meaningful to you and whether you have the resources to achieve it. Most importantly, time, right? That A part of smart, achievable is in my opinion, the most crucial factor, because if you don't have the resources, you're not going to be able to do it. But again, that is also the most difficult part about setting yourself goals, because especially if you're inexperienced, because you just need to make stuff, make games to know what is achievable, what is possible within a certain time. Set goals for yourself out of personal inspiration, motivation, and not to impress anybody, and do not allow your goals to consume you. I think I have answered all the questions that are in the chat. If there are any more, well, we can maybe hit the 1 hour mark on the stream perfectly. If there are any more questions, post them in the chat right now. In the meantime, right, I'm just going to ask people to ring the bell to stay updated on whenever I'm live. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you got something out of it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course, comment your SMART goals if you don't want me to answer it in the live stream at the moment, or just comment what I should cook for the next stream, right? I'm all ears. If you have any suggestions, feel free to share it. I think this went really well. I want to thank you all very, very much for participating in this first cooking live stream of the Dine podcast. I'm going to be uploading the episodes to Spotify as well. Yeah, you can check out my other socials in the description as well. We got a question from Dusty. Who do you think will win the first league? The first league? What do you mean, like Bundesliga? Chicken tacos. Oh, this is thank you for the suggestion, Kimono. This is actually a purely vegan channel, but that's a great suggestion. Just veganize the chicken tacos. We can use vegan chicken. Yeah, I think I might use that for my next podcast. Actually, that's a great idea. Um, yeah, Dusty, can you be a little bit more specific with who do you think will win the first league? I'm assuming you mean Bundesliga. It's gonna be Bayern Munich for sure. If not, if you mean Champions League, then I suppose it will be Real Madrid. Yeah, Real Madrid. Um, all right. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody again so much for listening. I am going to devour these bad boys right now because they've been sitting here for a while. Um, yes, yes. I mean Bundesliga. All right. Then I answered your question. Perfect. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. See you. I'm probably not going to be able to stream on Friday. I said Tuesdays and Fridays. Because on Friday is the Global Game Jam at Breda University. If you still want to, like, if you're in Europe or in the Netherlands or somewhere close by, I think there are still tickets available for the Global Game Jam at Breda University. I don't have people to participate with, so maybe we can meet up there. It's open to the public. You just need to buy a ticket. And yeah, maybe we can team up there and create a little game on. It's from Friday till Sunday. So yeah. Hope that works. Goal. Okay, I'm gonna eat these bad boys while watching football.